Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve with Sensus Fidelium coming at you once again in our epic series on herbs that heal. Stress the word epic with our epic herbalist, Judson Carroll. I need to step away from the drinking. I'm just doing energy drinks. Anyways, hope you are having a good day whenever, wherever you are. Judson, how you doing? I'm making sure we don't miss the Braves game today.
There you go. Yeah, we started early.
Anyway, how you doing, man? Good to see you again.
Pretty good, and we got the right topic. I broke my finger last week.
Yeah, I heard the attack of the killer roach. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. It was on carpet, and I had to smack that sucker about 5 or 10 times before I finally killed it. And at one point, apparently, I just bit that back, and
I've had people ask me, what's the big deal about the cockroaches? And so if you're not from this area, in South Carolina, it's the state bird.
Yep.
About the size of birds. I've been in Charleston before when I lived down there at college in Charleston, turned the light off with people there and go, just wait, count to about 10, cut the light back on, and you can hear them through the wall outside scattering. So they're big. They're big guys here.
No, they definitely are. While things are being dealt with in the mountains, while the state's tearing my house down and sorting out for everything after hurricane damage, I was staying with a relative down in Pinehurst, right outside of Fayetteville. Most people know where Fayetteville is because most everybody had a relative that was stationed at Fort Bragg at one point in time. And it was pretty crazy. Everybody started saying, oh, no, like my toilet's backing up and what are we going to do? And they called in the village and they cut into the street and the sewer pipe was absolutely clogged with roaches. I mean, it was a nightmare out of Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Temple Doom. Indy, we're stepping on fortune crackers. I don't think that's fortune cookies.
Right, yeah, fortune. I remember that. Oh, what a great movie!
Yes, the joys of it. There's stuff down here. If you go even further south, they get bigger and bigger and uglier and uglier. It's Father Ripper has a great line. He goes, "You ever wonder what God's imagination is? Look at the bugs."
Yeah,
and there's all sorts of them.
Well, when I was down in Georgia, went to UGA, so I was in the Athens area, and my buddy was from Gainesville area, Florida, and he's like, "Don't step on them. Don't do it, man. Save them. Take them. Just put them in a bag. Put them in a bag. Put them in a bag." I'm like, "Dude, what's up?" He says, "We're going bass fishing, man." You put a cockroach on a hook and you toss it out there. I mean, you can nail frying pan bass just over and over and over. But they got to be alive, they got to be kicking.
Yep, yeah, he's got a point. I can't imagine them eating it, but not us eating it. Right. You talked about the chocolate covered ants. I haven't gotten into the barbecue style roach yet.
Yeah,
I know there's some Doritos, or sometimes they're putting some of that in. I know grasshopper and things like that, but we haven't made it to that level yet. Not doing that hot, but not that we're doing that bad either.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking I'm going to eat cicadas whenever they have like that 7-year hatch because people say they taste like shrimp, but then I look at it and I'm like, I don't really feel like. I'm not that hungry.
You're going to have to tempura that one before you fool me on it to give it a shot. Hide it.
Tempura. That's one of our Catholic dishes. The Portuguese. Portuguese monks brought that to Japan. Most people think tempura is a Japanese cooking technique. It's actually Portuguese.
And again, if you're wondering about this is Judson Carroll of Southern Appalachian Herbs.com, which I have the link in the show notes as well. And then just in case you're looking, here's the website. Here's the book that we're talking about. There's also the book on the Sophia website. And he's got a ton of stuff on here. If you want to look into it, a cookbook, grass of the Southeast, ferns of the Southeast, religious books. There's the ferns ones, medicinal shrubs, woody vines, survival herb garden. So if you're looking for other things on here, go to the site, check it out. Someone in the chat's already asked about the website with a few months ago that we talked about with the database for herbs.
Plantsforfuture.net.
Plantsforfuture.net, or just call Judson.
My blog, the search bar on my blog, it's probably the second biggest plant resource out there. The only thing was the difference between me and Plants for Future is they will also tell you what can be used for fiber or dyes or such as that, where I tend to stick with the edibles and medicinals.
Is this it right here?
Probably no, I don't think so. Hold on, I will click my link. Here we go. Naturalmedicinalherbs.net, also known as Plants for a Future. So naturalmedicinalherbs.net. And as I said last time, okay, so they got an index of more than 7,000 herbs. And they have both Latin names and common names. It is an English site, so you will find more of the common names being English. So we can't always, our American names for some plants are very different. But it's really good, and I would go ahead and explore that one because it does look like they've stopped updating it, and I don't know that it's going to be around forever.
But the seeds will. All right, so let's get. Speaking of broken bones and things, which is technically what I guess what's in that: muscle strains, sprains, automobiles, and aches and pains, all that. Everyone gets them. People work out or just move. If you're sitting on the couch like Marky Mark in the chat does a lot, and he gets up and starts walking to the fridge, maybe he pulls a hammy on the way. People have muscle pain on just the wrist with your mouse, things like that. Back and neck, anxiety, stress. You got to rub it out, things like that. So we got herbs for that too, if I'm correct, right?
Absolutely. First thing I did when I broke my finger, so I went and got my arnica and hopspud liniment and put on there. And
I actually made that concoction. I got it in here. Yep. Arnica and hopspud with some rubbing alcohol. So
have you tried it yet?
I just put it together a couple days ago because I was trying to think, what did he say and all that, and I didn't go back to look. But when I hear Judson say something, I write notes when I'm doing this. And you notice as he says, Steve, you really do this stuff. Yeah, here's an example.
Well, I immediately just stuck my hand in the jar and just let it sit there for about like 5 minutes, right? Swelling it really never swelled up. And I mean, I at least fractured the joint right here and probably here as well. So I put it in there. It really never swelled up. It got, even right now, the bruising, and this was just last Wednesday, I think. The bruising is just so slight you wouldn't even see it unless you were looking for it. And it's not, I mean, the hopspud really disrupts that pain sensor, so I can't close it completely. I can get about that far, but it doesn't hurt to do that. Now, I have really long fingers. I have really big hands. And I don't know, 10, 12 years old, golden retriever grabbed hold of this finger and turned it around backwards in the socket.
Yeah.
I've broken probably every finger in both of my hands at least once. Total night and day difference using that arnica and hopspud liniment. Just put in there. The arnica pulls out the bruising. It pulls out the inflammation. The hopspud soothes it, takes care of the pain. And other than taking a couple of aspirin, I couldn't do a guitar video this week. I couldn't use that finger to pick, but I've been practicing my old ukulele instead, using my thumb. And, even that motion normally would hurt, right? If you got a broken bone sitting there. No big deal.
Comfrey's another broken boner one, all right? Now there's a problem with it. I got it growing out bad. The darn leaves are like that big.
Yeah. Have you tried eating it yet?
Haven't tried eating it. I didn't know.
It's really good.
Really?
Oh yeah, comfrey for thousands of years was one of the main food staples of Europe and Asia. Actually, comfrey was not only human feed but animal feed. I mean, before people started making hay, the first thing you did was make sure you had plenty of comfrey planted in your fields for your cows and horses and goats and chickens. Chickens love comfrey, but yeah, it's really, really tasty. And so the issue with comfrey, the old name for it is knit bone, because it propagates protein synthesis. It actually can heal broken bones. It will actually heal wounds. If you were to say get a deep puncture wound and you put it into a comfrey tea, that comfrey actually might close up the wound before you had a chance for the blood to kind of wash the impurities out. So that's actually like one of the cautions we say, don't use comfrey right away because you may get an infection. It just heals things so fast. It's crazy. When I blew out my knee. So I'm carrying like 300 pounds of plates. I was moving my weightlifting stuff around. Obviously, I haven't been using it for a while because of this very reason, but I was moving the stuff around and stepped off the porch, right? And my knee went sideways and swelled up about the size of a volleyball, turned black. I mean, well, before that happened, I dropped everything, hit the ground, snapped it back into place, and had to crawl back into the house with the help of a neighbor. And I was out for a good 6 months. But what I did, I took, 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, I could walk, but 6 months before I was fully healed. Anyway, I took a comfrey salve and put it on there daily. I took turmeric and black pepper and, a few things for inflammation along with that. But my knee healed up pretty well. I mean, it's still iffy. It still goes. That tendon is very damaged, or ligament, or whatever it is on the inside of the knee. It'll pop out real easy. But with a month, I'm walking around without a cane. A buddy of mine, that did hurt actually. A buddy of mine who's a beaver trapper. He was out on his trap line and he stepped down a ditch and basically did the same thing. And he went into the doctor. He did the full physical therapy, going in every couple of weeks, having the fluid drained off, the MRIs, the x-rays and everything. And they were saying, well, you'll probably need a knee replacement and all that. 6 months later, he's still on crutches. And I told him, try this comfrey salve. And he's like, well, what's a good brand? I said, I don't even know. Go on Amazon and look, just look for something that's got comfrey in it. It's got, a decent base that you feel comfortable using. He gets one from Germany. It was real fancy. But in 30 days, he's in the gym. He's back to deadlifting in 30 days when he had been going in for having fluid drained off and everything and physical therapy and all that and barely able to put weight on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we use a lot of that here. Obviously, if you have kids, this is your show. Arnica, you used to go Arnica for the bruises. Mentioned that last one, but comfrey, used comfrey for some boo-boos as well. Exactly what you were saying, and knowing that it closes up, so make sure you clean it out first. But
yeah.
So if you eat it, it wouldn't do that inside? There's nothing that could speed up?
Okay, so technically, and this is the advice I have to give. Our government says you should not ever ingest comfrey in any way internally. The reason is because it does propagate self-proliferation. That's hard to say. It makes your body start growing tissue. If you had an underlying cancer or tumor, it will feed it, it will grow it. And so for that reason, they list it as one of the plant carcinogens. I'm not entirely convinced that it's actually carcinogenic, at least the true comfrey, the European comfrey that our ancestors brought here. Now, there is a Russian comfrey called Bocking number something. I can't remember what it is. It was developed not to spread because comfrey spreads like mint, basically. And it has been shown to be carcinogenic. So I say, for me, if it's true comfrey, I have no problem eating it. An herbalist, what was that guy's name? He was one of those real Skeeter. Yeah, Skeeter was an herbalist a few years back. It was really well known in the herbal community. He was one of the guys that did a lot of the wild harvesting and selling. And he was one of the old-fashioned herbalists, He was a real character. And he had a cup of comfrey tea every day, and it took care of his arthritis. It kept him going and everything. And, he looked into it and said, if it is carcinogenic, it's no more so than a can of beer. So, I mean, the government doesn't say don't drink beer. The government does say don't use comfrey, which is a little weird in my opinion.
I mean, government now says don't eat dandelions, and the government's okay with spraying it with cancer-causing things. So,
those stories. I mean, like that, I guess the most famous is probably sassafras. America was literally founded on two things: fur trade and sassafras. I mean, everybody came here from Europe to trap animals and sell fur back to Europe for coats and hats. There would be no United States without fur trappers. The next thing they found was sassafras, and it was really popular in Europe because it was considered to be a cure for gonorrhea and syphilis. It was not just a nice tea, but apparently Londoners were pretty darn sick at the time. And we sent them tons of sassafras. Then we discovered we had American ginseng. I mean, these wild products were really what brought people here. And because you could get out on the land and it was free to use, where in Europe, you were poaching the king's deer if you went out hunting and you weren't a nobleman. So people came here, and this country was essentially founded on fir and sassafras. So sometime in like the 1970s, the government decides they're going to take sassafras tea, which was a popular beverage, both as tea or as root beer, more often used in root beer, and they're going to study it with mice. So they give to all these tiny little lab mice the equivalent of, I think, 50 gallons a day of concentrated sassafras extract.
Oh, Lord.
And they get cancer. So the government says sassafras will give you cancer. And they have now it was by the 80s, they outlawed the sale of sassafras in any form in the United States, which is insane.
Yeah, it's been on my to-do list to make some root beer like that. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, good old-fashioned root beer is really good. You can do birch twig beer. I got Yule Gibbons' recipe for that in one of my books, probably Urban Medicine for Permaculture People, Preppers, whatever the name of it is. That's a really good one. But then the other one that's really interesting is sarsaparilla. And everybody knows about sarsaparilla. It's what the cowboys used to drink, right? Well, it's actually an adaptogen. It would, perk them up before they went upstairs to visit Miss Kitty and the ladies, right? So the sassafras is actually this huge family of plants. It can be either smilax proper is sarsaparilla, or an aurelia. So when it comes down to it, basically any thorny greenbrier you're pulling out of your backyard and getting, all angry with when you're cutting the hedges or getting scratched up on walking through the woods can be turned into root beer, and is going to be immunostimulative and help you recover from hard work and exhaustion. And also a really great edible. I love greenbrier leaves in the springtime, especially. They're a lot like spinach, but with a little more chew to them, a little, I don't know, a little more wild flavor to it. It's one of the easiest things, and people probably pay you to come rip out their briars.
Well, people are probably going to think I'm nuts, but after we get done, I'll end up going back and watering some of the things. I guarantee you, I'm going to grab a piece of that comfrey off and chew on it, see how that tastes.
Yeah, it's super mild, good. Like I said, it was one of the classic pot herbs of Europe.
I'm assuming the flowers are edible too. Then
what's that?
I'm assuming the flowers are edible then too, right?
Flowers are edible, yeah. But, people really lived off of comfrey leaves in the Middle Ages. Everybody had in the garden. It was growing by the roadsides. It was mostly food for poor people, but it was.
It makes sense because it grows so darn big.
It does, yeah, and vigorously, and it's just it spreads. And I like, people talk about mint or comfrey or something and say, oh, it spreads, it takes over. I'm like, yeah, I like that.
That's good. That's a good thing, right? I mean, you get more.
Less work.
Yeah, you get more. I did a show on my gardening thing. I used AI for help on this because I made a herb tower. Because I was thinking, all right, the wife wanted to put it in the inside a sense, out from the outside. Where we're renting, it's got like an outdoor porch, but it's closed in. It's because you put it right there, so I can just walk out and get it. Okay, let me figure it out. Let me have the best way to stack it in. I asked it, what's the best top to bottom? There's 7 tiers on it. What do you want me to put on this? And it said, put mint up top. And here's why. And then it said, put it in buckets. Put it in terracottas. So in the pots, I have terracottas inside the pots.
Nice, yeah.
And the mint is quadrupled in size compared to what I have outside in the pots. It is loving the terracotta pots. And I'm going, man, I wonder if it keeps it cooler in the pot itself. But anyway, just talking about, just what, I would love just to put it out there and just let it go.
Yeah, yeah. No, a lot of plants do better in environments such as that. It reminded me of one of the first designs that Bill Mollison came up with for permaculture was called an herb spiral. And he was trying to figure out how to grow as much as possible in as small a space as possible. And so he looked at it and he said, well, what's the first thing I want in the morning when I get up? And he wants some chives and other herbs to go in his omelet. He's going to get his cup of tea. He says he's going to put on his fuzzy slippers. He's going to walk out the back door. He doesn't want to go so far. They're going to get soaked with dew. And he wants that right there. So he comes up with this idea And he just brings in gravel and field dirt and makes a mound essentially, and then kind of sculpts a spiral, like you can imagine a road driving to the top of a mountain, right?
Yeah.
And at the top of it, he's got where he waters it. Well, let's get my hands back on screen. He waters it up here, and then the water comes down that spiral all the way down. And at the bottom, he's got a little reservoir of water, a little basin of water. So on the sunny side, the hot side, he's got all his Mediterranean herbs, especially anything that will kind of trail over, like thyme and rosemary and different things like that. At the sunniest spots, he's got like his mints and he's got his basils and all that. On the other side, he's got more shade-loving herbs. He took and at the bottom, he's got watercress. And he's got some nasturtiums growing down there. And I think at one point he even had little fish and water chestnuts. So he took this like space, which is no more than 10 square feet, if it was even that much,
Yeah.
and turned it into like 30 feet of growing space that was everything complementing each other as it went down, and did companion planting and everything. And at the very bottom, I remember what it was. Yeah, he was Australian. He put in crawfish. They call them crayfish, crawdads, whatever. Yeah,
Crawdad.
down there. Some nice yabos. That's what they call them in Australia. Yabos, big red crawfish down there, and it just and frogs, and it just totally worked. And the frogs were also eating the mosquitoes, and and he published this thing in one of his books, but he didn't put the scale. And so, like 5 years later, this guy in Germany calls him and says, "I made your spiral." And he says, "Oh yeah, how big is it?" 750 feet tall.
He built another tower.
Yeah, it was just like this massive,
Think Tower of
Aztec,
Babel and just a little
like
bit
an
lower.
Aztec pyramid of growing things.
Yeah, I think Tower of Babel, and then it's just a little bit lower on the scale. I got kicked out. I swear I told him I wasn't trying to do it.
I would love to have seen it now. I mean, come on. I mean,
It would be a
must have
sight
been
to
incredible.
see.
But I mean, think about that. You can't keep your furry slippers from getting wet going out to harvest
Yeah,
them.
that's darn sure. What else on sprains, strains, and aches? I know we talked about comfrey, we talked about arnica, and is it chamomile? Because was that more for rashes? Is that?
Yeah, I would say more soothing, like for rashes. Definitely St. John's wort. St. John's wort oil can be used pretty much interchangeably with arnica. It's not quite as strong, but it's very good.
You can't go wrong with arnica and comfrey. It's kind of like a 1-2 punch, and then after that, it's like, you know what, just stop wasting your time.
Yeah, it is. It's really very good stuff. Tobacco is really fantastic for any sprains, arthritic joints. You're using this topically. Now, if you've had an addiction to nicotine, you may not want to use it because you will absorb it through the skin. But tobacco is extremely anti-inflammatory when used topically.
Are you talking about taking a leaf off and just tying it around your knee or something?
You could do that. You can absolutely do it. Usually it's put in like a spit poultice. We talked about doing that with plantain. You take a little and chew it up and put it like on a bee sting or something. Well, you can put that right on a strain, anything like that. If you had a leaf, you could absolutely just let the sweat take care of that. Usually people put it in their bathwater. And that's actually the only real use I have to give any caution, because you're going to absorb nicotine through your skin, and you really need to put like basically an egg timer there. And you say, I'm going to be in this bath for a minute, 3 minutes, because tobacco, if you're not used to it, when that nicotine hits your system, especially in large amounts being absorbed through the skin, you can get dizzy, and you don't want to get dizzy in the bathtub. But yeah, it's other than that, it's pretty easy to use. Definitely. should be much more researched and used than it is. We kind of demonize tobacco, whereas it actually has some really great medicinal uses.
There was always a joke a buddy of mine will say about the smoking. Was it George Burns' doctor saying that he needs to stop smoking cigars or he'll die an early death? And George goes in and goes, "Here I am standing at the doctor's funeral smoking a couple stogies."
Yeah. Yeah. What was he, 95? I mean,
like that.
Yeah, he was kind of like a chain cigar smoker. Well, it's Rush Limbaugh always used to talk about it. And of course, Rush Limbaugh died from lung cancer from smoking. So a pretty good example. But he said, tobacco can cause cancer. Doesn't mean it will cause cancer. It can cause cancer. And that has entirely to do with your genetics. Mm-hmm. You can literally look at your family tree and say, maybe I should not do this. But,
just like anything else, just like alcohol, whatever.
Yeah. And people are just, the other thing that's interesting about tobacco that I often think about, it increases testosterone in men. And if we think about the greatest generation, the World War II generation, the men that built the Brooklyn Bridge or settled the West.
They were smoking while they were sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking the Marlboro man. And we've now taken animal fats out of the diet to a large extent, which is what the body turns into testosterone. We've taken tobacco out, and we've got the soy boys now. We've really lost that. There are no Ted Williams out there anymore. There are no Ty Cobbs out there anymore. There are a few, and they usually end up on the 6 o'clock news. That's
yeah. There's I remember when Duncan Park used to play in there in Spartanburg, and they had the and if you went to any minor league park in the 80s, you saw the Marlboro man in the outfield. Yeah. And was it maybe late 90s, early double aughts that they took him down and replaced him by, I don't know. The poor guy got kicked out. Him and was it the cat?
Cat. I'm not replacing that one.
Now I'm trying to think. Wasn't there a cartoon for smoking too?
Oh, yeah. The camel.
Joe Camel.
Yeah. A couple years ago when I started my podcast, I actually just talked about this on my last podcast. One of the things that inspired it, we were in the COVID lockdowns, and I was out walking the dog, and this guy calls over and says, come here, son, come here. And I come over there. His name was Vernon Haslip, and he was 97 years old, I believe. And he's sitting on his porch smoking a cigar, and he's got a glass of scotch in his hand. Come over here and have a smoke with me. Have a scotch, And he said, you remind me of a guy I served with. And whenever we started talking with him, so Mr. Haslip stormed the beaches at D-Day. He was at Normandy. And he and his buddy get off the boat, and they're like neck deep in water. Guy calls out to him. Vernon thinks maybe he slipped. He's drowning. Pulls him over. He's been cut in half by machine gun fire. Mm-hmm. So here's this 97-year-old man who's telling me about how he literally saved civilization in a day that about 50,000 American men lost their lives. Right.
Yeah.
And we're in a COVID lockdown for fear of catching a cold. Mm. The irony. And he's like, yeah, I used to smoke all the time, gave it up for about 20 years. And I said, when I turn 75, I'm going to smoke all I want.
The alarm on his phone went off. Time to go, buddy.
He finally passed away at like 99 years old. And he was a character to the end as well.
Isn't it the cigarettes back they were much more pure than they are now? Like the rat poison in the fillers right now.
Yes, that's the big thing. And I really do think that is a huge issue. And that's the one thing nobody talks about when they talk about medical issues with nicotine and tobacco. I mean, now we have pure nicotine in patches, and nobody even really knows what that's going to do to you. Mm-hmm. But the tobacco industry started treating the tobacco with a lot of ammonia and such to enhance the take-up of nicotine. Our ancestors were smoking a very, very different product. Now, that's not to say it was low in nicotine. When I do have a cigar, I like to have those like jet black Maduro cigars, specifically from Honduras, if I can get them. And I mean, you take like 2 puffs and you're sitting down. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so strong it'll punch you in the face, or the old burley tobacco, chewing tobacco, where you take a couple of put it in, chew for a minute, spit, and then start puking your lungs out. You know, it was strong stuff, but those chemicals that were made it so they could put smaller amounts in those little paper tubes and give you faster uptake probably did lead to a lot of the problems. But then again, I'm not advocating the use of tobacco. I'm just saying topically, it's the very best thing I know for arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, the big swollen joints.
Yeah.
For sprains, for even broken bones. It really actually works better than just about anything. And it's the very best thing for bee stings, wasp stings, hornet stings, anything like that.
I got a tobacco plant out back growing. It's about 3-4 feet tall. It's loving this heat right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously it's tobacco rose, so I mean this stuff works. So it's the home of that thing growing. But yeah. Go out there and grow some. I grew it from seed.
Yeah. I like to grow it. I usually grow a yellow twist bud burley. That's what I got. There you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That smells so good when it's curing. I mean, it smells, or when, just right. Oh man, it smells good. When I was a kid, you probably had a very similar experience where you grew up. Went to school down around Fairmont, North Carolina. And back then, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. All the, it was still like one of the centers where all the tobacco warehouses were. So, like September, October, they're bringing in all the tobacco and just truckloads of it. And the warehouses are just stacked floor to ceiling with huge pallets of tobacco. And there's just tobacco leaves all over the street and the sidewalk. And, you're a kid and you just grab a leaf and start chewing on it, and then nobody cares, everybody, there's just tobacco everywhere. And it smelled like cherries and leather. The entire town smelled like cherries and leather, and I'll never forget that. It was
it's like going into the old stores where you had the Indian statue when you come. You walk in, you're like, man, this place smells amazing.
Oh, it does. It just smells amazing. I mean, that's the thing, like that. There's actually an old Ingmar Bergman movie called Wild Strawberries. One of those like odd foreign films I had watched when I was in college. And he said, this woman says something to the guy like, oh, I hate the smell of tobacco smoke. He says, it's a good manly smell.
Let's go on to what we had, wounds and burns. Which one do you want to go with first?
Let's see, wounds and burns. We did sprains, and muscle pains. And now we're on to wounds and burns. I was trying to see in the book where we left off. Okay, so aloe, fantastic, of course, for burns.
Which everyone should have in their house, probably in their bathroom.
Yeah, have it in the kitchen. Have it right there in the sunniest window you got. Main mistake people make with aloe is they try to treat it like a normal house plant. It's a succulent. It's like in the cactus family. If you can get a succulent potting mix, go for it because it's going to really help. But I mean, aloe hates wet feet. It needs to stay nice and dry. If you got an aloe that's wobbly, it's getting way too much water. And cut back on the water, give it more sun, and it's just going to grow like crazy. I've seen aloes that have been 7-8 feet tall in pots in people's houses. And in the mountains of North Carolina, on the north side of the slope where I live, mine's about this tall in a little pot. That's about the best I can maintain.
It's kind of pathetic looking, yes.
Yeah, just really, pathetic. But in St.
You can make the water out of that. You don't eat the leaf, don't eat the green, but you can make the gel. Can make some good stuff.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a very strong laxative, though. Be aware of that.
Yeah, if you eat the green, I've heard that. If you eat the green part, you might as well make sure you buy a toilet on that.
You better, yeah. That was kind of a popular thing a few years ago. And
the aloe water. I haven't never gotten into it, but yes.
Yeah, I never really saw why people want to do that. Like,
now is that?
I just try to avoid that experience if I can possibly help it.
Being a succulent, we have it in the bathroom now. I've heard that it will take the water out of the air too. So if you have mold problems, I could help on that.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, most of your succulents have that ability. Well, I guess all of them really, because of the desert environment, they can pull water. Now, what I'm not sure about, I assume it would, was a stone crop or house leek. That's what, yeah, hens and chicks, not, well, stonecrop maybe, but hens and chicks, house leek. That's what St. Hildegard would have used before they brought in aloe from um, the Middle East. It's really an Arabian plant. And it's really funny when you think about the way languages develop. Apparently, the word aloe in like their ancient Arabic language meant shining silvery substance. And that's because they take all this aloe and split it and take the pulp out and dry it in the sun. And that's the only way people knew aloe in Europe was as an import from the Middle East. And I'm thinking, shiny silvery bitter substance at that. And I'm thinking, man, that is one creative language. I would never think I'm going to sit here and come up with a word that means shiny silvery bitter substance. Anyway, they would use hens and chicks, which you can still get probably at any garden center. It's like this little succulent, and it'll grow a big plant and then put all these little plants around it, just like that. It's Latin name sempervivum, or live forever. And yeah, that's what they were using before aloe came in. But apparently by the 1500s, at least according to what I've read about Polish herbal medicine, every house in Poland had an aloe plant growing in the window. They'd have two things. They'd have aloe and they'd have geranium, big red geraniums and an aloe plant.
Yeah, definitely makes sense to keep in your bathroom, or at least somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's great for sunburn too. It really is. It pulls down that swelling and kind of tightens tissue, astringes the tissue so it doesn't get so puffy and inflamed. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That was number one by far. We have a number two runner-up by far. Number runner-up.
Oh, well, let's refer to our book.
So anybody that says I can't get aloe, I don't know what you. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we talked about house leek or live forever, hens or chicks. I'm looking at our book right now, Herbs That Heal. Cacti right now down here in Pinehurst. I've got the one called Indian fig, which is a small little native version of prickly pear cactus. But most any cactus, split that pad open, put it on there, works just like aloe. It's great. And of course, edible. I love Nepalese. In Mexican food, they cook with a lot of cactus pads, really good stuff. And really was super interesting to me. I wanted to go into this in more detail in our book, but I think our editors got a little cautious. I have known 4 or 5 people who have been bitten by either copperheads or rattlesnakes and used cactus pads to draw out they say it draws out the poison. I don't see how that's possible. But whatever it does, it seems to neutralize that venom to some extent. And they say that it actually does draw out the poison because of the astringency. They take the pad off, and when it turns black, they put a fresh one on. And most recently, it was. Are
we looking for test subjects?
What's that?
Are you looking for test subjects?
No, I don't even want to even try this one. But Marjorie Wildcraft did it, and I think hers was a rattlesnake, was a timber rattler maybe, or diamondback. Yeah, she was down in Texas, a diamondback. She did that, and she took certain antibiotic herbs because there's a lot of nasty stuff in that snake's mouth too to stop the infection, and she recovered actually very quickly. Her husband the next year got bitten by a rattlesnake and went to the hospital, and he had a horrible time. He was sick for days and had tissue damage, necrosis, and all that. Yeah, they had the people I've spoken with, no problem using cactus and other herbs to treat snake bites, which is something I hope I never have to do.
Yeah, no kidding. We try. That's one good thing about where I'm at is we don't have. The woods is out there, so I know there's probably some out there. I haven't seen a copperhead in years.
Oh, there's tons of them around here in Pinehurst, but
I know it's their hometown, but
you'll be walking down the street and there'll just be like a big 5-foot-long copperhead just laying in the road, and it's like, I'll leave you alone, buddy. You leave me alone. That's
good.
All.
Yeah, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, go that way. I'm going this way. Bye-bye.
It's funny. Up in the mountains where I really live, where I'm from and where I spend most of my time, we're at too high an elevation for venomous snakes. We got no rattlesnakes up here. We got no copperheads, nothing. And so the state of North Carolina, being as brilliant as it is, decided to release 100,000 timber rattlers. on our public trails one summer. And they decided we needed more snakes. And so I'm out there walking around. I mean, Bass Lake at Cone Manor House in Blowing Rock. I mean, probably like the most iconic little walking trail in North Carolina,
Yeah.
with 1,000 people on a summer day walking the dog. And there's a big old rattlesnake sitting right under the where the little spout was going over from the trout hatchery into the lake. And it's like, hey, look at there. There's a timber rattler. And all these horses are walking around. And of course, the freeze came in that winter and killed them all. So we spent probably $10 million to release 100 million rattlesnakes, and they were all dead within 6 months. And who knows how many tourists got bitten. And
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll dump these off, and maybe we'll kill them all, but we might take some people out in the process. Let's do it.
Hey, really though, my philosophy, because I did grow up half the time down at the coastal swamps, so our native rattlesnake down there is the cottonmouth, and they're nasty things. Cottonmouth, I do not like cottonmouth. So when I go out camping, hunting, fishing, everything, I get a G's minnow trap. There's like basket style minnow traps that got a hole in there either end. Take an unwashed chicken egg, put it in there, and when you get in there for the night, put it out. Next morning, every snake in the area is going to be in that trap. They go for that chicken egg and they can't get out. Yeah. So then I just take it and I drown them, put them in the water for about 30 minutes, take them out, skin them, gut them, grill them up, and enjoy. Snake is actually very, very good meat. And I would much rather eat them than them eat me. That's for sure.
Yeah, or at least bite you.
Yeah.
Mark's taking note. Mark, you got that up there? You taking notes? Yeah, that's lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and actually, even if they bite you, their venom, like I said, is necrotizing. It is digesting your tissue. That's what the whole point of a snake venom is. It bites something, pre-digests it, and swallows it whole.
Yeah.
So one of our best herbs for that is echinacea. Echinacea used to be called snake oil, and it causes the body to produce hyaluronic acid, which prevents the tissue damage from snake bites or necrotizing spider bites, such as brown recluse or black widow. And they can leave nasty bites. I mean, that venom will eat a hole out, and you get some echinacea oil taken internally and used externally. You can usually neutralize the majority of that venom and not have a problem at all.
So you got to make the oil. You just can't grab the leaf or the flower or anything like that?
Yeah, well, you could. Now, you could definitely take it as an extract or have it in a capsule form. I'm sure it would help as a tea. But people always talk about snake oil, and that's why I refer to it as that, because back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, people sold echinacea oil as snake oil, as a snake bite remedy. And in 1919, when our government decided to basically ban the sale of herbal medicine, they called it snake oil.
Snake oil, yeah.
Yeah, just like horse paste with ivermectin, right? I mean, it's horse paste. You don't want to put that nasty stuff. You probably would have been a heck of a lot better off with that horse paste.
Would a tincture form, would that work if you don't have just the oil?
Yeah. I am sure it would. The constituents are the same. I mean, you're extracting the constituents of the plant either into alcohol, oil, or water.
Still has the good stuff in it.
Yeah, it's just snake oil was used topically, and people keep a little bottle of it in their pack just in case they got bitten. And that's just the way I still think of it, because that's the way it was branded for so many years. And people still refer to me as a snake oil salesman when they're going to.
You're selling some echinacea, then they say, yes, I am.
One of our articles in one of the Catholic magazines, some doctor came after me online saying, well, you shouldn't give medical advice. I said, I didn't. You're nothing but a snake oil salesman. I said, thank you. And actually, I have nothing for sale. I make no profit for the practice of medicine. Do you?
There's a couple of videos out there, and they always say something like echinacea. Can't make money off it. You can't patent it. It grows naturally. So, yeah, someone selling herbs, you're not looking to build a mansion off of when it grows.
Oh, no.
Naturally outside your window.
Especially with government regulations. There are people that grow herbs for sale, and there are a couple of really great books. Like Richo Czech has some great books on growing herbs. I got one. There's several good herb books. But if you try to do that for a living, the regulations are killer.
I bet.
Oh, they're just killer. You have to have certain humidity levels and temperature levels at which you dry stuff. It has to be processed. You have inspections, just like you would if you were making pharmaceuticals. You need a commercial kitchen as if you were running a restaurant, and then you need all like the hazmat suits and the all that crazy stuff.
Yep.
I don't even know how anybody makes a living in selling herbs, really.
Just make it your own and do it your own. You don't have to.
That's what I do. That's what I advise people to do. People always ask me, where can I buy this? Where can I buy that? And I tell them, and I'm like, you could make it yourself for like, 50 cents, and the quality, the purity, and
what you
talk about.
Yeah.
One thing we talked about in our
tincture
book.
of Indonesian hyssop, and there's the hyssop bush out back, which it comes back in the spring, and right now it's flowering, so it's about 4 or 5 feet tall. Every bird in the States, every bee in the States on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday we had some yellow finches on it.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, it was everything, because the purple flowers, and you had the yellows in there and the bees flying around. Those, you can just stand right next to you. You see all these things flying around you. They do not care about you. They want that.
Yeah. No, I love finches.
I just took some flowers. I just took some leaves off it, made a tincture of it. I barely even made a dent.
Yeah. And see, when you grow it yourself, what you got is what you got. We talk about this in the book some. A lot of herbs are misidentified, whether they're harvested in the field or processed in the factory. And even if you're buying from a reputable vitamin company online, you can't be 100% sure you're buying the plant you think you're buying. Once things are dried, they tend to look a lot alike.
Yeah. Whoops. Now, hops, you kind of know what they look like.
Hops,
yeah. Speaking of wounds, yarrow, that's a big one, right?
Yarrow's excellent. Yarrow's the old soldier's herb. Yarrow, excellent for stopping bleeding. Really just one of the best. They used to carry it, like I said, in the war, in dried flowers in a little pouch, and get the run through with a sword. First thing they do is grab that, put it on there. It's astringent. It's going to tighten the tissue. It's a styptic. It's going to stop the bleeding. It helps prevent infection. And when it's in its dried form, it also sucks up that blood and helps clotting. So you can treat very severe wounds with dried yarrow. Fresh is good. Fresh will still be styptic and astringent, but when you got that dried, that's going to blot up that blood and help with that coagulation. It's amazing stuff. It works really well. I think the Herbalist Seven song one time was saying, he had used it as a tea for wounds, and he didn't see a lot of help in stopping the bleeding. But yeah, you're putting water onto a wet wound. You want to dry that thing in. So I keep it in dried flower form. And what a great herb. It'll grow anywhere. It's the toughest herb I know of. It actually grows, wild in my front yard. Every now and then when I cut the grass, I just mow it down. And when it grows back, it'll actually turn sideways and grow along the ground to stay out of the way of the blades.
It learns.
How a plant knows to do that, I have no idea, but it'll do it. Yeah.
So you just you don't make a poultice for the dry. You just put it on dry and just set it there.
That's what I do. Yeah. It is said to work very well as a tincture. I've never tried it in that form. Fresh plant, you would use like a poultice, but yeah, I usually just tear up a few plants, hang them up dry, and if I need it, I just strip them off and put it on.
Lamb's ear. I heard that's like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, lamb's ear can be used as a good Band-Aid. I'm trying to remember you wouldn't know the I'm sorry. I was trying to remember the Latin name for lamb's ear, and it's just totally escaping me. But it's probably in our book. That's where I'm looking right now. No, I'm not. It's here somewhere, I'm sure. But yeah, look up lamb's ear, the common name. Yeah, definitely natural Band-Aid. Plantago major leaves, also very useful. Burdock leaves make a great natural Band-Aid. Oh, I see the next one we came to in the book. It was cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is the go-to in the kitchen for stopping bleeding. And this is used in commercial kitchens. Most chefs know about this, whereas the average, home cook doesn't. If you ever work in a kitchen, we're cutting ourselves all the time. And the one thing you never do in a commercial kitchen is stop work to tend to a wound. That is like you're the wuss. You are out of there. You have just forget it. You've lost your job, right? You no matter how bad the cut is, you grab some cayenne pepper, put it in there, put a paper towel around it, wrap it in duct tape, and go right back to work. It doesn't. I don't care if you cut your thumb off. That's what you do in a commercial kitchen.
Tape it back up.
Just tape it up and keep going. But yeah, cayenne, what it does is just increase clotting like crazy. It is a little warm, but you're already hurting because you cut yourself. You really don't notice it.
You can deal with a little bit more pain.
Yeah. So you just dash it in there, wrap it up, tape it, put some pressure on, and you're back on the line in the blink of an eye. And of course, never do that around the health inspector.
Well, wild lettuce, I heard, is a painkiller. Is that right?
Yeah, wild lettuce is good for about 50% of people. It totally depends on your genetics, 100%. It does nothing for me. But for some people, it's like a mild opiate. Wild lettuce is probably just past the time of being in flower right now. Yeah, it would have flowered in May, end of May, early June. It looks nothing like lettuce, but it is the ancestor to our modern lettuce. It grows in a tall stalk. It has these jagged, almost like big dandelion leaves. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're prickly, sometimes they're smooth. In the early spring, it's an excellent edible. It's just like bitter lettuce. It's just really good. So what you do is go out on a hot afternoon right now and just cut the tops of the stalks off. And it's going to put out a little milky sap. You're just going to get a little bit. Cut it off about 6 inches lower. Wait another half hour. Collect. You'll spend all day collecting. You can probably get about 4 to 8 ounces, depending on how much you got in a weedy parking lot. That's where you're usually going to find it, or beside the railroad tracks or something like that, an old field. And for 50% of people, it works as a mild opiate, essentially. And it's usually made into a tincture. You can make it into a tea. You can actually use the dried plant, the dried leaves, to make a tea of it if it works for you, or a tincture. But that opium-like sap, that latexy-like sap, tends to be a little bit stronger. And some people do smoke it. And like I said, for me, it does nothing whatsoever. But for a lot of people I've talked with, they think it's fantastic. Other plants along that line would be like Jamaican dogwood. Jamaican dogwood, again, for 50% of people, is strongly narcotic. Depending on your genetic makeup, you may have experienced nothing. Or like me, the first time it hits you strong. And the next time, nothing and nothing and nothing after that.
Yeah. You're sitting on the couch going, hey, man.
Put out the Bob Marley. Actually, Peter Tosh was no, I can't say that. Bob Marley was an icon. Bob Marley was a legend. But I love Peter Tosh, too, without a doubt.
We have one question.
Jimmy Cliff. Man, Jimmy Cliff, people write him off too easy. You think about like the tide is high and I'm moving on, or sitting here in limbo. Man, Peter, he was good. Yeah.
We have a question about anti-parasitic herbs.
Oh, well, there are a lot.
Yes, I thought there would be one or two at least.
Yeah, there are a whole lot. Anything in the mint family, anything in the Artemisia family, and a lot in the Apiaceae family. So what are we talking about? We're talking about mint, basil, oregano, monarda, wild mint, horse mint, anything in that family, pennyroyal, water mint. Getting into the wormwoods, we're talking, the Artemisias, we're talking wormwood, we're talking mugwort, we're talking southernwood.
We have someone at ground zero in between a mint and wormwood plants.
Okay. Good stuff. Actually, you can probably keep mosquitoes away like that. They're very good insect repellents. Rub them on your skin. Wormwood, so named because it would expel worms from the body, obviously. In the Apiaceae, we're really looking at parsley and cilantro in higher amounts. Celery, large amounts of celery, actually pretty good. Now, that's an interesting one. Celery, and when you buy it in the store, is nothing like celery from the garden. and certainly nothing like its wild ancestor. Celery pulls up so much water into the stalk that if you water celery like a vegetable, it becomes like tasteless and doesn't have a lot of medicinal use. Wild celery or celery from the garden, if you've done it, without overwatering or putting a lot of fertilizer on it, it is so pungent and strong, especially the leaves. And those will absolutely have some wonderful anti-vermifuge properties. And you can take the whole plant, put it in the blender, and it's one of the best things for anxiety. No one even really knows how it looks, how it works. They know how it looks. They don't know how it works, but you can make a smoothie out of celery. And it's great.
Lovage, is that the same thing?
What's that?
Lovage, is that the same thing?
Lovage is the same family. Very similar. It's a little more aromatic. I like lovage a lot. Lovage is one of my favorite herbs, actually. Marjoram, that's another that people don't use a lot. Summer savory, winter savory. These are all herbs that were used for this purpose that became culinary herbs. But one of the interesting things in the old store my family used to have, it sold wine and cheese and had a grocery store and all that. And one of the tricks of the trade was to take celery salt and sprinkle a little bit over the cheese and give it away on crackers for free, right? And the celery salt actually is a natural MSG. It enhances the flavor of everything you eat. So the cheese tastes wonderful. You get thirsty, you grab a beer or a glass of wine. Suddenly you're buying a case of beer. Suddenly you're buying a case of wine. Suddenly you're taking 5 pounds of cheese home with you. That's an old trick people used to use.
I've been thinking about doing. I haven't done it yet. The grow celery. I've tried the lovage. I just need to get it to sprout. They had to overwinter it, and I threw it down. And I don't know if the heat killed it or not.
Yeah,
giving it a shot.
It's always tricky. So's lovage. Lovage is a little easier in North Carolina than celery, but believe it or not, Eastern North Carolina used to be the biggest celery grower in the United States, so it can be done.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wait till it cools off a little bit. Right now I got some shea cloth over the strawberries and they're kicking butt right now.
So celery seed's a little bit stronger, parsley seed, coriander seed, anything like that. If you're going to use it for vermifuge properties, the seed, yeah. Right. There's one thing else I wanted to say about celery. Not that I'm aware of. I think I covered celery. Yes.
Grow some celery, people. Get out there. So there's a couple of people in there. Land worker, gardener of my soul right now. She's in a garden. We got some people. There's a couple of people I know that have taken up our advice, mostly Justin's advice, and started growing some things. And so, get up, pick one or two.
Yeah. Dill's one that grows really well.
Dill
grows like crazy, and it has a lot of same properties, and is also really good for stopping intestinal cramping and diarrhea and such as that.
Yeah. It's also great for bringing in some parasitic wasps, so you can get in and take care of some problems that you have in your yard too. Both ends. But yes, get in there, grow some things, start using it, put this stuff to use. Like I said, if you don't believe me, again, I do it. I literally do this when he gets done with stuff.
Well, I guess I should say the only thing about that family, the Apiaceae family. It's carrots, it's fennel, it's dill, it's celery, it's parsley, it's coriander, cilantro, of course. So many of the plants that we eat, carrots, there's a perfect example. Excellent to grow in the garden. Be very, very, very careful if you forage for these plants because the same family, in fact, the plant that looks identical to carrot is wild hemlock, poison hemlock, one of the most deadly plants on the face of the earth. Water parsnip, probably the most second deadly. And the only difference between a wild carrot and poison hemlock, if you're looking at it, in the center of, and they also call this Queen Anne's lace. So if you've ever seen the flowers, Queen Anne's lace, you're looking at the center of that little lacy flower. There's a tiny one little purple flower and surrounded by millions of little white, what do they call them? They're not flowers, but umbelliferous, whatever. They got this little purple thing right in the middle. Two plants sitting side by side. One of them's got that little purple thing. You're going to pull up a tough little carrot root, which you're probably not even going to want to eat. The other one, you take one bite of that, you're going to drop dead. So be very, very careful foraging for anything in the Apiaceae family. That is not a family for beginners, without a doubt. Anything in the mint family, if it's got square stems, opposite leaves, it's a mint. It's not going to kill you. Well, it could in really high concentrated amounts, but most likely it's not going to kill you.
If you eat 50 tons of it.
Yeah, well, really essential oils, or if really a lot of water mint or pennyroyal. But say you were out in the woods and you found a creek and you didn't know if the water was safe to drink. Thomas Elpel wrote Botany a Day. He said, grab some wild mint, chew it up, leave it in your mouth, drink the water. It's going to kill any bacteria or parasites in that water, and you can be safe. He does it. I haven't actually tried that. I'm fortunate to live beside a lot of deep springs. So when I go into the woods, I know where the water's coming from. And unless something's done its business upstream, I'm probably going to be okay.
Yeah. And by that time, it's already gone.
Hopefully. Hopefully. There's some big bears around here. Great big bears.
We'll leave it at that. We'll pick up on some diarrhea, I think is next. So we'll stick with that. It's going around right now anyway. So that'll be a good hot topic issue for next time we do this.
Yeah. In fact, the Cherokee used to call that the summer illness. In fact, it took me years to figure that out. I kept reading all these old herbals and they said it's a treatment for the summer disease, the summer illness. And it's because, people didn't have purified water and their meat was spoiling and their water was getting, too hot, and they were getting parasites and bacteria. And so that once was diarrhea was once the summer ailment.
Man. When anybody wants some more info, here's Judson's website, Southern Appalachian Herbs. I got it in the show notes. Here's the book we're doing, which is also on his website. So you just go to his website. You can it's like a one-stop shop.
Sure, or the YouTube channel. You go to my YouTube, and I got the Herbal Medicine 101. I break down herbs into 5-minute segments.
Like that,
makes it pretty practical and easy. Some few cooking tips, and the longer format stuff's on there too.
Yes, check out the YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the show notes as well. But just again, the one-stop shop is Southern Appalachian Herbs. I think he has all that listed. Is your YouTube channel on here?
Let's see. JudsonCarroll.com is like the Substack. Southern Appalachian Herbs is the blog. Yeah, you pretty much get the same thing in either place.
Yeah, forgot about the Substack. Everyone's got a Substack now. So
yeah. And by the way, y'all, I don't see the chat when it's happening in live time. So if you got a question or comment, if you'll leave it under the comments under the video, I try to answer after the fact. I know a lot of people do ask questions on there, but I don't see it until the next day.
Yeah, it'd be probably hard for you to see on the laptop anyways from where you're at. Anyways, Judson, thanks a lot, man. Hey, we'll do this again either next week or the next week, one of the two. We'll see how we're figuring this out. And, man, have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the game tonight.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Now it's time for the ball game.